Every high-value man learns this early on. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's not something you ask for. It's something you become. It's in your body language. It's in the way you say, no, without flinching. It's in the calm, unshaken energy that walks into the room before you say a single word. Women don't respect promises. They don't fall for poetic words or sweet nothings. They respect the man who draws the line and stands on it. Especially when it's uncomfortable. Especially when it costs something. See, most guys don't lose their women when the love fades. They lose her the moment she stops respecting him. And that loss? It doesn't come like a thunderstorm, it creeps in like fog. One quiet compromise at a time. One small surrender of dignity. Until the man she used to admire becomes just a shadow. You don't fall from respect with a crash. You leak it, drip by drip, every time you tolerate what you once said you never would. But that ends today. Today, you stop asking for respect. You start living it, not through speeches, not through demands, through how you show up. Every single day. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 non-negotiable boundaries every man needs to hold. Not to control her, not to box her in, but to protect the one thing no one else will guard for you, your soul. And if you're ready to stop being a man who gets walked over, and start becoming the man you were always meant to be, drop a comment below. I choose respect. Let's begin. 1. Never reward disrespect. Every man, at some point, faces a moment of truth. It's not loud. It's not public. It's quiet. It might not even look like a big deal. But it's a decision point. You either defend your dignity, or you hand it away. And it usually doesn't come through some dramatic fight. It happens in the silence. When she says something off, and you let it slide. When she makes a joke at your expense, and you fake a laugh. When she gives you the cold shoulder, and you chase her anyway. Disrespect rarely shows up like a slap in the face. It comes in whispers, in eye rolls, in subtle digs, in comments like, "You're too sensitive," when you express something real. And the moment you let that slide, the second you swallow your pride just to keep the peace, you've taught her something crucial. You're moldable. Your boundaries are flexible. Your standards? Negotiable. You haven't lost her love yet, but you've lost her admiration. And once admiration dies, love follows it out the door. Here's the hard truth. It doesn't matter how loyal you are, how long you've been together, or how many gifts you buy. If she doesn't respect you, she can't be inspired by you. And if she's not inspired by you, she won't stay. Women can sense it immediately. The moment you prioritize comfort over principle, she knows. The moment you let her diminish you, and you pretend not to notice, she feels it. Now listen carefully. Respect isn't something you win back with some dramatic gesture. You don't fix this with a big speech or a crying apology. You protect respect in the small, quiet moments. The moments when you calmly say, "Hey, that's not okay. This far, no further." Not with rage, not with shouting, just calm, grounded clarity. But if you hesitate, if you tolerate, you lose something deeper than her attention. You lose your own edge. And when a man loses his edge, he starts forgetting who he is. Let's be clear. Disrespect doesn't always come wrapped in anger. Sometimes it comes in much quieter forms. It's when she talks over you. It's when she rolls her eyes when you share something that matters to you. It's when she compares you, casually, to other men. It's when she gives you silence after you set a boundary. All of that? That's disrespect in disguise. And when you ignore it, you're handing her a blueprint, a step-by-step guide on how to erode your worth. Not because she's cruel, but because you've shown her you'll tolerate it. You teach people how to treat you, not by what you say, but by what you accept in silence. It's not always a landslide. It's a hairline fracture that gets wider over time. The longer you let it go, the more it becomes your new normal. And here's where most men go wrong. They react, they argue, they beg, they explain why they deserve better. But the man who commands real respect, He doesn't react, he responds. And when he responds, it's simple, it's quiet, it's final. He says, "Don't speak to me like that again." And if it happens again, he doesn't shout, he doesn't plead, he just walks, not in anger, but in self-respect. Because the man who lets one offense slide invites 1,000 more. Every time you excuse disrespect, you send this message to the world: I'm willing to trade my dignity for a little comfort. But when you hold the line, quietly, firmly, something shifts. Your presence sharpens, your voice slows down, your energy changes. People feel it, without a word. The ones who respect strength, they come closer. The ones who were just testing you, they disappear. And that's exactly how it should be. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be respected by the few who matter. So stand your ground, not out of pride, not out of ego, but because your soul is worth protecting. That's how you stop rewarding disrespect. That's how you build a life only the worthy can enter. 2. Guard your peace. There comes a time in every man's life where a quiet but defining choice presents itself. Will you chase the world? Or will you guard your peace? And here's what most men never understand. Peace isn't something that just happens. It's not found. It's built. It's defended, like your life depends on it. Because it does. A man without peace wakes up already behind. He starts his day on edge. He's in reaction mode before his feet hit the floor. Everything is urgent. Everything is loud. He's constantly explaining himself, chasing approval, trying to fix things that aren't his to fix, performing for people who wouldn't even notice if he disappeared tomorrow, running after women who test him, catering to friends who drain him, and grinding for a world that rewards exhaustion with likes and empty applause. That's not a life. That's a slow death. But real peace? Real peace is different. It's not loud. It's not showy. It's a quiet presence. It's when you don't have to defend yourself with noise. Because your presence says everything. You walk into a room and shift its atmosphere without saying a word. You don't handle disrespect with rage. You handle it with absence. Stillness becomes your shield. Clarity becomes your compass. But most men? They leak peace, like water through cracked hands. Every time they argue with someone not worth their breath. Every time they reply to a disrespectful message just to feel heard. Every time they say yes out of guilt. Every time they engage with chaos just to avoid the discomfort of being alone. Each of those small leaks chips away at who they are. And eventually, there's nothing left but an exhausted shell. A man wearing the mask of who he used to be. Let me be brutally clear with you. You can't build an empire on a shaky foundation. You can't lead a woman with an anxious soul. You can't command respect when you're constantly scrambling for relief. Peace is the ground. It's the invisible armor that keeps you sane when life throws its punches. And women? They feel it instantly. They know when your mind is scattered. When your time is cheap. When your energy is chaotic. When your boundaries are unclear. And no, they're not attracted to it. They don't admire it. They don't respect it. They instinctively start to lead because someone has to. But no woman wants to lead the man she desires. She wants to lean on you, not become you. So what does guarding your peace really look like? It means becoming unavailable to nonsense. Not because you're bitter, not because you're better, but because you've finally designed your life on purpose. You become selective about what you let into your world, who you talk to, what you watch, what you listen to, what kind of energy you let near you. You start asking yourself a powerful question every day. Does this protect my peace or poison it? If it poisons it, it goes. No explanations, no drama, no second chances. Just gone. You stop explaining your worth. You stop fighting for attention. You stop running toward validation that was never yours to begin with. Because a man at peace doesn't chase chaos. He sits so still. Chaos trips over itself trying to reach him. You rise early, not to hustle, but because those quiet hours are your sanctuary. You train, not for vanity, but because physical discipline feeds mental order. You clean your space, not to impress anyone, but because disorder doesn't get to live rent-free in your mind. Sometimes, you walk alone, not because you're lonely, but because you prefer your own silence to someone else's noise. You say, no, without a paragraph attached. You leave texts unanswered. You let people misunderstand you without scrambling to explain. Let them wonder. Let them talk. Because while they gossip, you're building. While they spiral, you're ascending. Now, understand this. When a woman tests you, through drama, through silence, through sudden distance, she's not trying to destroy you. She's looking for your center. She's pressing against your walls to see if they hold. She's tugging at your roots to see if you stand. And if every time she pokes, you flinch, she knows there's no core, just reactivity. But if you hold still, if you stay calm longer than her confusion can last, if you only respond when you choose to, she feels it, and in that stillness, she either rises to meet you, or she falls away. Either way, you win, because no relationship, no job, no approval is worth surrendering your soul. If you lose yourself trying to hold on to someone, you didn't win them, you lost you. So guard your peace, like a man guards his kingdom. No apology, no compromise, no noise. Build it so strong, it offends those who live in chaos. So real, that the wrong people retreat. And the right ones? They're magnetically pulled in. And when you live this way, everything you once chased, validation, admiration, respect, it all starts chasing you. You become the rarest man in the room, the one who doesn't need to be noticed to know his value. That is peace. And once you own it, you'll never trade it again. Not for love, not for attention, not for anyone. 3. Don't share too much. There's a part of you she should never fully see. Not because you're hiding something, but because mystery breathes life into connection. You've probably heard the message over and over. Open up more. Be vulnerable. Share your feelings. And sure, there's truth in that. But the way most men do it? It kills the spark. Understand this. Women don't want to know everything about you, no matter what they say. They don't want to be handed the blueprint to your soul on the first date. They don't want to be dragged into the trenches of every anxiety, every doubt, every dark night of your past. They want to feel your depth, not drown in it. They want to sense that there's more to you, without being asked to carry it. But what most men do, especially when they're trying to be real or honest, is they overshare. They lay everything on the table too soon. They bleed out their emotions as if that proves trust. Here's what that actually does. You stop being her desire. You become her project. And women don't fall in love with projects. They fall for men. Men who carry weight with quiet strength. Men who reveal themselves slowly. Like a sunrise. Measured. Intentional. Magnetic. You've been taught to pour everything out. To tell her how scared you are. To cry when things get hard. To confess every past mistake, trauma, and insecurity like it earns you points. But think back. Did her eyes light up more when you shared your doubts? Did she lean in closer when you talked about your fears? Or did something subtle shift? That invisible change where she stopped seeing you as a man to lean on and started seeing you as someone she needed to save. No woman wants to rescue the man she dreams of depending on. And no, this doesn't mean don't feel. This doesn't mean become a robot. A respected man feels deeply, but he moves carefully. He doesn't dump his emotions at her feet hoping she'll help sort through them. He processes them on his own. He integrates his pain quietly, steadily. He builds his strength in private. Because strength isn't the absence of feeling. It's the ability to feel without becoming unbalanced. When you expose every corner of your soul too early, you create emotional clutter. You give her nowhere to stand. She doesn't know how to respond. She's not sure what role to play. And instead of feeling drawn in by your openness, she starts to feel smothered by it. She withdraws, not because she's cold, but because she instinctively doesn't want to carry your weight. The most respected men? They share themselves in glimpses. Not in confessions. Not in long monologues. Not in emotional floods. They open small windows, not floodgates. They reveal their story like a rare treasure, not like a brochure handed to anyone who asks. They lead with presence, not with explanations. If you want to build strong, magnetic relationships, don't make your life an open book on day one. Let her earn the right to know you. Let curiosity pull her in. When she asks questions, answer, but only enough to deepen the intrigue. This isn't manipulation, it's mastery. You're not withholding out of fear. You're preserving polarity. You're maintaining the tension that keeps desire alive. Most men get this wrong. They think, if she knows everything, she'll love me more. But the truth is, she doesn't leave because she knows too little. She leaves because there's nothing left to discover. Predictability is the death of attraction. What you need is strategic vulnerability. Purposeful emotional restraint. You speak when it strengthens the bond, not when you just want to be heard. You share when it adds clarity, not confusion. You don't confess every crack. You open up slowly, intentionally, like a sunrise that reveals just enough to warm the room, but never all at once. And when you do reveal something deep, you don't do it seeking sympathy. You don't do it hoping she'll validate you. You do it with calm, with composure, with control. You offer her a glimpse of something rare. Resilience. That you can feel deeply and still stand tall. That you can carry weight without needing to be rescued. You don't ask her to carry your pain. You show her how you've learned to carry it yourself. And that quiet strength, that's what makes you unforgettable. Not how much you share, but how much you carry. With grace, with stillness. The less you spill, the more they lean in. The less you seek approval, the more they seek you. Because in a world full of men desperate to be understood, the man who doesn't need to be seen, who doesn't beg to be heard, who stands with a full heart and a calm voice, he becomes magnetic, irresistible, rare. Your presence becomes the invitation. Your stillness becomes the draw. And when you do choose to speak, to share, to reveal, it's not just noise, it's signal. It's truth, and it carries weight. So don't overshare. Don't hand your story to just anyone. Treat your heart like treasure. Because the moment you realize your silence holds more power than your words, that's the moment you start commanding real respect. 4. No emotional reactivity. Emotional mastery doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop letting your feelings run the show. Real control isn't coldness. It's depth. It's being able to feel everything, rage, sadness, desire, fear, and still respond only to what matters. A man who reacts to every emotion, every glance, every mood shift, hasn't yet touched the roots of his own strength. Because the truth is, the world wants you reactive. Social media wants you triggered. Your friends test your limits. Your woman? She'll poke at your buttons too. Not because she's cruel, but because that's how she finds your center. It's how she tests if your foundation is solid, or if you're just another leaf in the storm. Let's be real. You felt it. One moment you're calm, grounded. Then, she shifts her tone. She throws a sarcastic jab. She goes silent. She pulls her warmth away. And suddenly, your stomach tightens. Your mind races. Your words chase hers like leaves in the wind. That moment? That's emotional reactivity. It's when your internal world no longer belongs to you. It belongs to her mood, her energy, her withdrawal. You've handed over the keys to your peace. And once she knows she can move you at will, something in her heart changes. Not because she's heartless, but because she no longer trusts you to be the mountain. You become another emotional liability. Another man who needs managing. Another leaf, not the rock. Emotional sovereignty isn't about shutting down. It's about stepping up. It's the ability to feel the storm, but not get swept away. It's when you can hold the tension, the awkward silence, the criticism, and not flinch, not scramble to fix it, not chase for comfort. That's power. But it takes work. You have to face the part of yourself that panics when people disapprove. The part that begs for reassurance. The part that wants to fix every rift with words and pleading. And then you say to that part, you don't get to lead anymore. You sit with your impulses. You don't run from them. You watch your triggers instead of obeying them. You let discomfort burn without jumping to put it out. And in that space, that sacred pause between stimulus and response, kings are born. You don't lash out. You don't defend. You don't chase fleeing energy. You stand. You observe. You wait. And that silence? It does what scrambling never could. It reveals who truly belongs in your life. Because when a woman tests you, with attitude, with silence, with withdrawal, she's not always trying to push you away. She's leaning on your walls to see if they crumble. And when they don't, when you hold stillness longer than her confusion, she melts. Not because you fixed anything, but because you proved something. You showed her you're the mountain. And in a world where most men fold at the first gust of wind, the man who stands unmoved, he becomes unforgettable. But don't get it twisted. You can't fake this calm. You can't just throw on a poker face and pretend you're unshaken. Not when you're boiling inside. Because women feel energy before words. They sense the truth underneath your silence. So dig deeper. Own your impatience. Own your fear of rejection. Own the need to defend yourself. Disarm those impulses. So that when a woman tests you, when someone talks behind your back, when life throws heat your way, you don't bend. You don't scramble. You choose. You choose when to speak. You choose what deserves your energy. You choose your emotions like a master craftsman chooses his tools. And when people see this in you, that discipline, that centeredness, they change. The ones who used to provoke you, they grow frustrated because you don't dance to their chaos anymore. And the ones who value peace, they orbit around you because calm attracts clarity, and clarity repels confusion. You speak less. You move slower. You observe more. You stop flinching when she gets moody. You stop chasing when she pulls away. You stop trying to explain yourself when misunderstood. Why? Because her storms no longer shake your foundation. You become the safe harbor. Not because you fix her, but because you don't lose yourself trying to. And life rewards this kind of man. Because most men are still slaves to their feelings. Calling it passion. They burn bridges. They chase. They explode. They break under pressure. But you rise from betrayal without noise. You hear lies about you and stay silent. You get ghosted, doubted, criticized, and still move forward. Not because you're numb, but because you're disciplined. That's no longer emotional reactivity. That's emotional leadership. And the man who leads himself, he becomes a king. So let this be your standard. No woman, no stranger, no situation gets to move you unless you choose to be moved. Because your destiny, it isn't written by mood swings. It's carved by discipline, one solid boundary at a time. And in doing that, you become unshakable. 5. Always be willing to walk away. There comes a moment in every man's life where staying becomes more damaging than leaving. But what do most men do? They stay. They stay in dead-end jobs. In relationships that hollow them out. In friendships that drain more than they give. Not because they believe in them, but because the unknown scares them more than the pain they've grown used to. So they shrink. They smile. They say, it's not that bad. And piece by piece, they abandon themselves. But the man who's willing to walk away, that man is rare. He doesn't stay out of comfort. He stays out of alignment. And the moment alignment disappears, so does he. This isn't about being reckless. This is about being loyal to your soul. And women? They feel this instantly. They can tell if you're staying because you're addicted to her attention, or because she genuinely adds peace, purpose, and power to your life. The man who clings, who needs her to fill his empty spaces, he gets tested endlessly. But the man who doesn't chase, the man who stands his ground, he earns silent, steady respect. Why? Because a man who's willing to walk away forces people to treat him differently. He doesn't demand it, he commands it, just by who he is. It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It's honor. It's being able to say, I love you, but I will not betray myself for you. I value this, but I will not sell my soul to keep it. I want connection, but not at the cost of my self-respect. That's not cold. That's sacred. It's the kind of power that comes from a man who no longer needs approval to stand tall. And when you live like that, the wrong people fall away. The right ones come closer. Not because you chased them, but because your gravity changed. You stop explaining yourself. You stop begging for respect. You stop waiting to be valued. You know your worth. You choose your peace. And here's the deeper truth. Most men are in love with comfort. They build entire lives around what's familiar. Even if it kills them slowly. They stay because it's easier than starting over. Easier than facing the silence. Easier than being alone. But comfort zones? They're just decorated cages. And every time you choose comfort over truth, you lose a part of yourself. But the man who walks away, the man who steps into the unknown with quiet certainty, he reclaims every piece of himself that he once gave away. Because true strength isn't loud. It's not full of rage. It doesn't slam doors or make threats. True strength walks away, silently, calmly, without apology. When something insults your spirit, you go. No fight, no drama, just motion. You don't do it to punish her. You don't do it to win. You do it because your soul wasn't born to live in chains. It was born to fly. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, you'll question yourself. But on the other side of that pain is freedom, peace, and self-respect so strong, it can never be stolen again. So start practicing this. Be willing to walk away from any situation that demands you shrink. Any job that asks you to kill your passion. Any relationship that forces you to ignore your values. Any friendship that feels like obligation, not connection. Every time you walk away from something that disrespects your soul, you sharpen your edge. You deepen your clarity. You strengthen your presence. And here's what happens next. The man you used to be? The one who begged, who folded, who explained himself endlessly, he dissolves. And the man who replaces him? He doesn't need attention. He doesn't perform. He doesn't plead for validation. He just is. He moves through the world like gravity itself. Quiet, unbothered, undeniable. You weren't born to kneel for love. You weren't made to chase attention. You were built to stand. Silently, powerfully, with dignity. So walk away when you must. Even when it breaks your heart. Even when it feels like loss. Because if staying costs you, it's not a relationship. It's a prison. And if this message strikes a chord, if it awakens something in you, then it's time. Time to remember what you came here for. Time to stop sacrificing your soul for comfort. Time to become the kind of man no one forgets. A man who lives so rooted in truth. So loyal to his own spirit, that everything unworthy falls away, and everything worthy rises to meet him. So share this with a brother who's still living small. Drop a comment below. I choose my soul over comfort. Because when you support this message, you don't just build yourself. You help another man rise. And maybe, just maybe, that's how we change the world.